Welcome back, Cold Front Convos, episode 15. You got Goose in the Under Armour shirt, Alex in the Bills hoodie. I got Team USA soccer jersey on right now. No Mitch. He has no teeth, so he will not be on the pod this week. Wish him quick recovery, and hopefully his teeth grow back fast. So, coming off a 27-25 Buffalo Bills win over the Baltimore Ravens in the divisional round, a very interesting type of game, but it ultimately leads to a Bills win to advance to play Kansas City in the Arrowhead this week. I will say it's statistically one of the more disappointing Buffalo offensive production weeks. However, still managed to put up 27 against essentially the NFL's best defense right now. So,
I was shocked that Baltimore didn't have any designed run plays with Lamar during that game. I really thought that's what was going to be coming.
yeah.
And you just didn't see it that often. It really, and I think I said it last week, but I feel like they felt like they had to match what Josh Allen can do and trying to throw the ball more than letting Lamar run it.
And to the point, I mean, they were moving the ball pretty well. I mean, outside of those two turnovers in the first half, like really like kind of killed them. Obviously, Bills go up 21-10, at halftime. They Ravens, kudos to them. They made a lot of good adjustments in the second half. I mean, Bills come out and punt both first two drives in the second half. That took the air a little bit out of the stadium. I mean, it was obviously still live and electric, but it just wasn't. You're just like, what the heck? Like, what are they doing? I mean, they were being conservative, but I understood what they were doing to some extent, trying to, gain a few yards and hold the ball and run the clock and that sort of thing. You did see Baltimore. I said it in the text chain, and they only did it on one series, but they had Justice Hill out there on first and second down versus like Henry, which is kind of unique. And I mean, ultimately, like statistically, not great, but did what you needed to do. I mean, that's the end of the game. So
yeah, I mean, you don't care what the stat line is, I guess, right? As long as you come out with a win in the playoffs. But I will, to your point, Goose, they're up 21-10 at half. They do what they hope to do. You score right before the half. Don't give Baltimore another possession. You come out and get the ball. And I feel like they turned the pedal from, or the dial from 10 to 4. Those next two possessions. Felt like they took the ball out of Josh's hands. It was run, pass, short pass. I mean, they put up a graphic. You guys obviously were both at the game, which is awesome. But they put up a graphic at one point in the second half that Josh had hit 9 of his last 10 passes, but it was like 6 yards, 3 yards, 4 yards, 6 yards. They weren't throwing the ball down the field. They threw the ball down the field on the first possession, the one to Shakir and the incomplete to Matt Collins, than they did the whole rest of the game. And
those are the only two.
The only thing past 15 yards, I think he threw the whole game except one throwaway.
And at one point, I know because I was saying it at the stadium, whoever's listening to me, which was probably nobody, but I pretty much lost. Well, you can still kind of hear it a little bit. Like I almost lost my voice completely, like that night, screaming and whatnot. But they had, as they were coming down to the goal, I can't remember which possession it was, if it was their first field goal or second field goal, but they were down near the end zone in the second half, and Amari Cooper was one-on-one with no help at all. There was no safety help. Safety was kind of shifted more towards the middle. I was like pointing at Cooper, fade, and they ran it. And I was like, that's the play. That's what you have. And Coleman kind of had one-on-one coverage. You could tell it was one-on-one, like it was man-to-man on both sides of the field. And they
That was early in the second half.
Yeah, it must. Yeah. It wasn't the first two possessions. It must have been the next. I think it was right after the fumble recovery, after the Von Miller fumble recovery, because then they kicked the field goal there. But
yeah. Some of the play call just didn't seem. It looked like Joe Brady kind of got in his own head a little bit. Like running out of shotgun. We haven't done that in forever, and it never works. So we were down the goal line. I just don't understand why they didn't just run it. I think that was like the where they needed to get the touchdown to kind of put it away, right?
Yeah, they're down from the 2.
Yeah. And just push it and just get that first down and get the touchdown. And
that's Romo was saying it on the broadcast. He's like, "Oh, they're the 2. Give Josh the ball back to back, push both times." I mean, they essentially averaged 2 yards a sneak.
Yeah. Well, and then they ran they ran it out of the shotgun, and he tried to that one didn't make sense.
He almost threw it back, didn't he?
Yeah. He almost lost it to Cook. Yeah.
And that would have been terrible because that guy was coming around Josh's right side. Yeah. He would have either knocked the ball into the ground or caught it. So it was sketchy to say the least. But I think I agree with you. I think both offensive coordinators got in their heads because you would think, okay, they ran all that RPO or option almost, just straight option with Lamar and Derrick Henry last week in Pittsburgh. And you would think, okay, you're running it TJ Watt, Cam Hayward, some big names along the defensive line. Unless you're saying that, now Rousseau is not TJ Watt, obviously, right? But unless you're saying that the Bills linebackers and probably Taron Johnson, I guess, are that much better than Pittsburgh's linebacker and secondary core that you're not confident you can run those plays, I don't know why you wouldn't. Because to your point, Alex, I was nervous the whole week about the fact that, I think I said before the game, as long as Derek had under 100 yards, we'd win this game. I think that was our only chance, and it got there, but they just did not feed him the ball like I thought they would, and Lamar did not have design runs.
No, I mean, and Lamar just kind of looked off a little bit. I mean, he had that one bad snap that was the fumble. He threw that, which looked like there was a miscommunication with a wide receiver on that other one, and it just they didn't look as good as they normally look. It definitely looked like one of their worst games that they've ever had. But the Bills took advantage of it. That's what you got to do. That's how you win those games.
Yeah. And obviously, Mark Andrews, is the kind of. I mean, Mark Andrews doesn't drop 2 passes. I mean, let alone 1. He doesn't drop 2, and he dropped 2 huge passes, and then he had the fumble.
Yeah,
and he had the big fumble.
Great play by Bernard on that, though.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that was a great play to some extent. I mean, just kind of came right through and knocked it out. But the drop passes to me are more of the big thing. I mean, he dropped one in the first half, which is kind of like whatever, but you don't usually see him drop passes. So it was very, very interesting. That whole sequence.
Typical Bills Mafia fashion. I think last I saw a few hours ago, his GoFundMe for
it's like 10.
Was up at 15.
Over 15,000.
It's 15 now. Wow.
Yeah, but Andrews gets scapegoated because of the fumble and that first drop in front of Taron Johnson. He doesn't even get the first down anyways, I don't think. So it really doesn't make that big of a difference. But obviously the punch out fumble by Bernard was huge, and then the drop 2-point conversion. I mean, that was so uncharacteristic. Now, that all being said, the national media talked about how, they would have tied it there and da-da-da. You had 90 seconds, 2 timeouts, and you just had to get into field goal range to the good side to kick into at the stadium. I think Josh can Superman 50 yards in a minute and a half with 2 timeouts to get past the position.
And Mitch had sent the text in our group of that was a bad move on the kick field goal, with 4.5 minutes left, before that drive. But now you kind of look at it, you're like, well, McDermott's playing the numbers of okay, if they go down and they score, if they get the 2-point conversion, we still get the ball with probably minute 20 at that point, maybe minute and a half to go because at that point they had 2 timeouts.
Right.
So he's like, we're going to get the ball back. And, all we got to do is maybe kick a field goal at that point. So I could understand why Mitch was like, they should have just gone for it. But at the same time, it's like, if you go for it and you screw it up, like, you're going to lose. So I actually like the safe call there. I know McDermott has got a lot of flack for not, end of game situations and game management and stuff, but I actually think he made the right call. And going back and watching the game again, like the end of the game, you could tell that he was thinking about it, and he was like, how many yards away are we? Like, he ran all the way down. He's like looking at it. It's like 2 yards, not a yard, not a yard.
I think it was the right call.
Yeah.
In hindsight, in the moment, though, I'll tell you what, if they would have tush pushed that first one, then I don't think, number one, I think they probably get it.
I do too. I agree with that.
And then you're talking a 2-possession game no matter what happens. So it becomes a moot. I mean, it's a dagger with 4 minutes left. As long as they don't, maybe Lamar tries to throw deep, but that's the only thing we defend well. Minus, now granted, Bateman in the beginning of the game had the long touchdown, just like against the Broncos the week before. We let up an opening drive, long TD. But I think if we get in the end zone there, then we're up what? We were up 8. Or no, I'm sorry, we were up 5.
5, yeah.
So then 5 and 7
It would have been 31.
Yeah.
So we're at 31.
Yeah.
And they need a touchdown, they need a onside, and they need another touchdown at that point. So I would have liked to see the tush push first. If it doesn't work, or if you're stuck on the one, if you don't get any yards, say something weird happens. We've seen it that against the Vikings last year, they fumbled the ball for a safety or a touchdown, whatever it was. Then kick the field goal. But I do think from the 2-yard line, even if it's a long 2, you do the tush push and then you debate. Because at the same time, the clock's running anyways. What's the difference?
Yeah.
You got to take the time out.
Also, Baltimore chasing points there at the end with going for the 2-point conversion to tie it up earlier.
Uh-huh.
I think that really came back to bite them too, because they could have, if they hadn't done that, they could have just gone down and gotten that, the touchdown and tied it up there instead of needing to go for that extra point, for 2.
I don't remember what the score was there. I mean, I don't necessarily know if the going for 2 really made that much of a difference. Wait, so that would have been, so there was 21-10 at that point, and they scored, and they tried to go for 2, right? If I remember correctly.
Yeah. Because it would have tied it up, because they were trying to tie it back up, and they missed it, so then they're down by 2.
Okay.
Right?
I remember.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember, because I know they were down by 2 points. That's why they went for the 2-point conversion earlier and didn't get it.
I don't remember, no.
Here it is.
Like they were chasing points.
So they were in the third quarter. In the third quarter, the Ravens were down 21-13, and then Derrick Henry had the 5-yard rush touchdown, and then they tried the 2-point conversion. So they tried to get the 2 points to tie it.
Yeah, that's what it was. But if they hadn't done that, and they just took that field goal, hindsight again, but you could have just tied it then, and then hope that your defense could have held.
Right.
So,
hot take here. And I, this is kind of coming off of the national media stuff and my own thought process too, but Josh has played so conservative, but against the last 2 defenses, which are arguably 2 of the better defenses in the AFC, definitely in the league. I mean, or definitely the AFC, but in the league, I think Denver and Baltimore. Kansas City has relied on their defense for much of the year, but I don't think they're in the same class as the other 2. So I think Josh throws the ball around a little bit more this coming week. And it could be to get ahead of Kansas City, like to keep the tempo and keep the rhythm if they do get up a couple scores or a score.
Kind of like what happened in Detroit. They came right out and they just attacked. Like, if they get the first, if they receive the kick, I think they're just going to try to go right down and score, because that's in the best probably 10, 12 plays they're going to have like grouped together, like if they get the kick, because that's what they're going to want to do. They're going to score first. So
I think you'll see, I don't want to see 30 throws on Allen or 35, but I think you may, because I think McDuffie's their best corner. So they'll probably stick him on Cooper or Coleman, pick one. But they'll put him on there because Shakir plays so much out of the slot. You don't stick the number one on him. And even if he erases Coleman or Cooper, I think that you can get enough done between the running backs, Shakir, Kincaid. I think we're built. Our design is built to take advantage of Kansas City.
Yeah, well, I think what I think what they'll do with McDuffie is whichever side. I don't know if he follows guys around or if he's just on one side of the field in that scenario, but they could end up doing that. They're really big on doing those three receivers on one side and then one on the opposite side solo. Like I could see them just soloing, whatever side he's on,
like they did
against
against
the side they stick. Yeah.
I mean, I'd love to see some more flash out of them, but at the end of the day, I couldn't care less if they win 6-3. I just want to win.
Yeah,
it's a weird spot when you're in the top.
It's interesting. Damian Woody kind of came out the other day and kind of said that Jaden Daniels has been the best quarterback in the playoffs at this point. And some of the guys they're going crazy with what Mahomes is doing and what Josh is doing and stuff. And honestly, what he said makes sense. I mean, numbers wise, he has been the best quarterback.
Yeah. He really has.
It's kind of interesting though. Like I thought about it, though. I was like, well, he has, but he got to play in Tampa in 70-degree weather, and then he got to play
in Detroit
inside in Detroit. Josh has played in negative 10 degrees and below both weeks. Yeah. It's not like it was warm in Kansas City this past weekend either. I mean, so.
And for those of you watching right now, it is 4 degrees. Yeah, I'm at.
Oh, it's about that right here.
It's about the same here.
And then in Orchard Park right now, it is 1 degree. Feels like -8.
It's probably still snowing.
And so it's you're on something right, Goose. That's a huge take because Daniel's killing it, and he's played 2 terrible defenses in Tampa Bay. And Detroit
I wouldn't necessarily say Tampa's defense is bad. They're not elite, but Todd Bowles with his defensive scheming and stuff like that, like the amount that Jaden Daniels was blitzed, he beat the blitz with kudos to him. And Detroit's defense is obviously they have 16 guys on IR or whatever, but they still have some players on that defense.
Yeah.
But they're in the middle. I mean, their offense is what's gotten them to where they are.
Yeah, I mean, they're 20 plus on total defense in the league at this point, stuff like that. So, I mean, and you're going to go man-to-man with Tanner McLaurin. I mean, who knows?
I mean,
if you're going to try to do that, I mean, there's a reason why they call him Scary Terry. Like, he's legit. So,
we got the worst of the 2 Washington receivers from last year. And Curtis Samuel.
Yeah. But, I mean, Jaden Daniels, I mean, as a rookie, I think what he's doing is kind of amazing. You don't see that often in a rookie in the playoffs being able to do what he's doing. Which, I mean, I guess that the temperature and where he's playing.
I'm not taking away exactly what he's doing, but sometimes it just needs to get kind of put in context of like, okay, like what would Josh Allen or even Patrick Mahomes, what would his numbers be if he was in Tampa and then in Detroit? Inside. What about, Matt Stafford had to go to play in Philly? What would he have done in Detroit?
Yeah. I mean, if you're just looking stats, then 100%, you'd say that Daniels is, and he's killing it. So not trying to sound like a hater, right? He's definitely killing it. But you, of the games so far, you've had arguably the best matchup defensively against you. And Todd Bowles is not bad, obviously, but they don't have the horses that they've had at Tampa in the past. And then same thing, you mentioned Detroit's got 13 guys in the IR. If Detroit has their full defense, then Detroit's a much tougher situation. It didn't help that, how many picks did Goff throw?
Goff threw, 2? Oh, did he throw 3?
3,
well,
and the wide receiver pick.
Jameson Williams threw 1.
And a fumble. So you got you earned 5 turnovers, and Daniels did good enough to turn most of those into points. So Of the 4 quarterbacks left right now, you got Mahomes, Allen, Hurts, and Daniels. I still take Josh, Patrick from this year. Career, obviously, you take Mahomes 1, but I go Josh, Mahomes, Daniels, Hurts in that order.
The same.
It's while we're on Jaden Daniels and Hurts, it's going to be, I think I looked at the weather in Philly Sunday. It's supposed to be like in the mid 40s and sunny. So he's going to get another decent weather game. And these are 2 teams that are very familiar with each other. I'm not even going to be surprised. Not even going to be surprised if Washington goes in there and wins.
I agree with that. I think they actually might beat Philly. I think it depends on what Philly team shows up.
Honestly, I would just stack the box with 8 guys and just dare them to pass. Dare it.
And Hurts is hurt, no pun intended. But he's a little bit injured right now as well. So who knows where he'll be? He'll play, but who knows what percent he's at.
How disappointing was it watching Detroit lose that game, though? I mean, I was kind of rooting for them. I just feel bad that franchise, like, finally things are going well and they look like they're going to do something, and then just fall flat.
Like a Bills Lions Super Bowl. Like, there's just 2 great fan bases that follow each other and just love their teams, and
that would have been awesome. Would have been
it would have been great. Yeah, it would have been a great regain. Another game, and then it's going to be inside down in Louisiana, right? Is it? It's in Louisiana, right?
It's it's the old, what is it? The Mercedes-Benz Stadium, right?
Yeah.
Where they had the national championship game last night.
So speaking, just quick, I happened to I texted my buddy who's a Chiefs fan from high school, and I was like, hey, so I'll see you in Kansas City next week. He's like, I would love to, but I can't believe the flight prices right now. Like, it's insane. Like, for a round trip for me from Syracuse, I obviously figured it out. $1,600. What the heck?
That's
like,
and then you got to get a hotel.
Tickets, well, and the hotel's not a big deal. I mean, the hotel I can use points, but the tickets are also like $500 a piece for 300 level.
Yeah.
I was like
looking at 300 level just for S's and G's, and it was like 600 and change.
Yeah.
For 300 levels, and it's going to be 32 degrees, low at 21.
Yeah,
still
it's not terrible
down there. And it'll be windy.
Yeah,
I'm sure too. But Goose, if you were to drive it from here, Kansas City, Missouri, I mean, not right to the stadium, obviously, right? Let's see, it's 859 miles, or 14
like 12
hours.
Oh yeah, no way. Nope.
I might drive 14 and a half hours to save $1,600 if I was going.
Yeah. That's expensive for a ticket. That's for a flight.
And I checked Southwest too and stuff like that. In Southwest, I think it was going to be like $800. So it's not. It's way better. But with points, I mean, even the points are like 50,000 points, like for one way. And I was like, this is crazy. Yeah. I was going to reach out to my boss, and be like, hey, any chance you need some help in Kansas City, like next Friday and Monday? But
maybe I'll do that tomorrow. I'll put it in the work group chat and ask if we need to support anyone over in Missouri. My operations partner, his name's Kevin, and he grew up there, and he's a Chiefs fan, and I think he's been too busy this week to really dive into it. But I'll start the text message thing on Thursday and just start poking him. But there's not really a ton I can say. They've won 3 Super Bowls with Mahomes, and they've beat us the last 3 times in the playoffs, 2 divisionals and an AFC championship game. So it'd be nice to steal one here.
I don't know why I was talking to my buddy Ryan, like we went to Wing Nuts or whatever right before the game, like to eat. I don't know if you guys have eaten wings at Wing Nuts. Yeah, it's pretty good. I mean, anyway,
they're gigantic.
Not a sponsor yet. Anyway, he was talking. It's interesting because like last week, like around the stadium, and maybe Alex, you can attest to this too. Everyone was just kind of a little bit nervous last week. Like there was a lot of nervous energy, but he said this week, like meeting last week, like before the Ravens game. He goes, it just seems like everyone's just kind of like really loose and kind of like, yeah,
I would have been the exact
We're gonna
opposite.
go.
I was less afraid
we're
of
going
Denver.
to do it. We're
Yeah.
going to do it type of thing. I think it was more because Denver like put up a ton of points against Kansas City the week before, and they put up a lot of points the last couple of weeks. And there was a lot of people on sports talk. They were like, if there's going to be an upset, like that's going to be the game.
Yeah, I could see that.
So,
but I don't know. Leaving those games, those champion, like the wild card game, like when we lost against Cincinnati and Kansas City last year, like walking out of that stadium was like the hardest thing in the world after those losses. So like I went in there being like, this is gonna suck if that happens again.
Well,
But
I mean, I was fortunate enough to catch that invite for the game. I obviously didn't take it, but I all week a couple of people had asked like, "Hey, are you going to go or do you want to go?" And I said essentially, I don't want to be walking out of that stadium at 10 o'clock at night after a loss. And then sit in the car for 2 hours to get home. I have no inclination to do that. If I'm going to be, I can't tell you how much I stood at home during that game. I sat for most of the first half and just tried to go with the flow. But almost the entire, after they scored in the third quarter, I think I stood almost the entire fourth in my living room, just pacing
nervous.
back and forth and walking in the kitchen and back in the living room. And yeah, just that nervous energy. And I was texting a handful of people, but I'm like, I'm way too physically invested, like my personal anxiety levels for a game that I have no, I have no impact on its outcome in one way, shape, or form. I'm less nervous. I've been less nervous legitimately doing eulogies and best man speeches than I have during Bills games. Like it gets my heart racing, and I'm like, it's like, what is, why are you doing that? How would you do that? But then I go up there and make jokes during a best man speech or whatever, and it's like, oh, okay, it's stupid.
I feel like
doesn't make any sense.
you just feel like you're completely out of control watching the Bills play.
Yeah.
Like,
you lack of control, right?
Yeah, just so much trauma involved with watching the Bills games, and every time you think they're going to do something great, and then it falls flat. That's why I was like watching Detroit lose. I was like, this feels like something the Bills are going to do. So it's like, I hope this isn't what's going to happen.
Well, so speaking of that, going into the Kansas City game this week, we'll do picks here in a moment, but the Bills are 1 point underdogs. And
I feel like that's going to change, though. It seems like
may
it's
slide. It started as
it's showing right now on ESPN -2, KC's -2.
Okay. I was on ESPN earlier today when I looked, so maybe it's moved a point already.
It's probably floated. Yeah, I think it started. I think we looked pretty much the Sunday night, and it was at 2.5. So it's changed a little bit. So let's see what's on ESPN bet. ESPN bets 2. Yeah,
right, we'll take 2 for the pickups, but it's like that game is, past history. One bad game, right? That the one divisional game wasn't that close, but 13 seconds. Bass misses a field goal for the other one. Or no, the other one was pretty close too, wasn't it? Wasn't it a touchdown?
I thought they were all pretty close.
They're all close, except for that very first one. That one wasn't.
Yeah, that one was a beatdown, I think, right?
Yeah.
Just like the Bengals game wasn't that close.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, we play them tight pretty much every time. And with what's on the line and us going in there, I'm positive I'll wear holes in the bottom of my socks walking around during that game. It's 6:30 this coming Sunday, and then like that whole Sunday, I'm just waiting. So like,
I know it's like the worst.
Watching the game, but
it's still brutal when it's that late. Even like when it was at the 4:30 games, like those are the worst. Like waiting for, because it's especially if there's no real good games on at 1, you're just sitting there just twiddling your thumbs, and you're just like, what do I do? You're like just watching, but then you're just scrolling through your phone and being a dope.
Yeah.
It's just, yeah.
Yeah. Well,
And then it gets to 4:30 and you're just like, oh, now I have to pay attention. And now I'm drained because I've literally just not been doing anything for 3 hours, hanging out.
and all I can picture is, that Diggs picture.
Oh,
With
yeah, we're
confetti.
standing at the confetti. Yeah.
That's kind of all that's not going through my head, obviously, but that's what that's what I picture, because we're conditioned. We've been conditioned for years and years and years that it's not ours. It's not a foregone conclusion, right? It's not ours to win. And that just does something to you, I think. Like you said, for Detroit, they finally got all the balls rolling in the right direction, and the wheels fell off.
Yep. The positive. I know Benford, and he's in concussion protocol, and Rapp's day to day. I will guess that Rapp is going to play, and then I imagine Benford will more than likely clear concussion protocol on Friday. But on the positive note, they're going in with everyone on defense healthy, which they didn't last year, and
they didn't
not even close the year before either. So, Taron Johnson, hopefully he's better, because he was trying to come back in on Sunday. We saw which I didn't notice on the field like when we were there, but I noticed it when I rewatched the end of the game, and he got smoked twice on that last drive.
Like, he hurt his shoulder before that too, so I think he was probably protecting himself a little bit, making some not making business decisions, but
he got beat on the touchdown pass, and he also got beat on it wasn't likely, it was the other guy that caught the first big pass there. I can't remember his name.
Oh, I know who you're talking about. He was not a no name, but
he's a fourth
receiver or third receiver.
Yeah. I got it. Wallace.
Oh,
he got beat on that play, and then he got beat on the touchdown too. So,
he had just come in. It looked like he had separated his shoulder.
Yeah, that looked pretty nasty too. His whole arm looked like it was the wrong
replay.
direction.
You see it like go limp under him, and he loses kind of control of it almost. But actually, back when we played them earlier this year and we won, the Chiefs, no Spencer Brown,
wasn't he out?
No Milano.
Oh, right.
Taron Johnson got hurt early. And Taylor Rapp got hurt during that game as well. And then there was a couple guys who were, I think, was Vaughn suspended? No, he wasn't. He was back.
No, he was back.
But there was a couple guys that were dinged up in that game, a couple guys on pitch counts. And then granted, they were missing Pacheco. That was the first week before he came back, and a couple other heads too. But
Hollywood Brown's back.
Coleman
right?
out of that game too?
No.
Coleman?
Was he still hurt from?
He might have still been hurt with the wrist. Because I think
I don't think
Coleman
Kincaid either. I don't think they had Kincaid either.
Yeah, they were missing a lot.
Kincaid was on too.
But yeah, Hollywood Brown was not back either. You're right, Alex. So, it can look entirely different, this game altogether. And if any two teams have each other's playbooks memorized, I think it's the Bills and the Chiefs.
Yeah, I do. I think we said it earlier, but I think we're definitely built to play the Chiefs. I think we definitely stack up better against them than we did with the Ravens.
That's what.
So I think this is what we need to be doing right now.
It was like rock, paper, scissors. I saw like some meme about that. Is that, Baltimore over the Bills, Bills best for the Chiefs, and the Chiefs are best. The worst matchup for the Ravens is the Chiefs. So
yeah, we were able to upset it. So we got the lizard and rock, paper, scissors, lizard, Spock. But it was, we were able to upset that little triangle.
Yeah.
So, let's do our pick'ems real quick. Let's start with the early game. Washington +5 against the Eagles.
I think it's 6. It's at 6 now.
Is it 6? We'll take 6.
6.
So Washington +6 at Philadelphia. I am going to take the Commanders.
I'm going to do the same. I really think they might.
Yeah. That's too big of a spread.
Yeah.
I mean, I know you get technically 2 points for being at home, but
2.5. Mitchell always
Surprised.
reminds me. 2.5.
Yeah,
2.5.
2.5.
I'm surprised that it's still that much. Like I would have figured that
I
this
would've thought,
spread
like,
with
3.5.
the way the
Yeah.
Commanders have been playing the last couple weeks and the way the Eagles have looked, they almost lost last week, and so even though they controlled, or no, not last week, the week before, sorry. So I'm surprised this isn't like 3 or 4 as far as spread goes, but yeah, I'm taking the Commanders +6 too.
And you said the most recent Bills Chiefs was 2.
Yeah.
All right, then with that, I'm going to take the Bills +2.
Yeah, same.
Taking
I
Bills
think
money
we all
line.
we all have them in the Super Bowl anyway, so
Yeah, true.
it could have been a 10-point spread. We would have taken the Bills +10. So
Bills -5. I'd have taken the Bills.
Yeah.
Well, so we're all the same. Mitchell sent his picks in earlier. He said Bills with whatever the spread is, Washington with whatever the spread is. So
Let's see.
we're all on the same page.
great minds think alike.
So that all being said, now, I don't actually Goose. I'm sorry, not Goose. Alex and Mitchell. Alex, I think you are 1 win ahead of Mitch for second place right now.
Wow.
So if you guys both pick you have the same picks this week. If you pick the same person for the Super Bowl, you lock in second place. So
All right.
Mitchell probably won't watch this. So that all being said, just make him make his Super Bowl pick before you do. And then you can, whoever it is, you go with them and you
lock in second place.
Yep. I am
All right.
locked in for first place for the pick'ems this year. Given that we have the same picks again this week. If we had gone opposite each other, then then it could have, if I would have got both of these wrong and the Super Bowl wrong and you got them all right, we could have tied, but done like dinner. So
Yeah.
put the crown on. Here we are.
You get the hat.
So let's kick into a movie that we all had to watch.
Man.
I'm going to go first because it's going to be short and sweet. I did not enjoy the movie. It is not my type of movie. I can appreciate that Mitchell likes it. Cinematically, it was fine. It's whatever. And like I said, I'd seen clips on TikTok, but it doesn't. Not my cup of tea. So it gets a 7.1 from me.
Oh, still getting to
It's
7.
still nice. I couldn't. If I throw a 5,
that's a pretty generous score.
Mitchell's gonna lose his mind. You guys remember the Dak Prescott situation? I can't deal with it. So, but anyways, yeah, 7.1, just not my thing. I could understand why it'd be good, and the movie itself didn't seem bad. It just not my cup of tea.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't I didn't really enjoy it that much. It was. I mean, it reminded me just regular kung fu movie. All the crazy acrobatic stuff when everything's on. But I had a hard time following it. I didn't really enjoy it that much. I'll give it.
Barry and Alex.
I'll give that movie a 5.4 on that.
Oh, I didn't even have to update the movie roster. Because 7.2 is the lowest.
So I wasn't going to go that low. I mean, there were parts of it that I kind of were like, oh, this is kind of, but it got a little of like, oh, everyone, that one guy, the one part of the one actor that was kind of the bad guy, I guess, in the movie, that he was like, you stopped me from opening my own kung fu school. It's like, dude, you've said this the entire movie. Like, it's the same
small business.
What are we doing?
What are you doing? Yeah.
So I mean, I was really trying to pay attention because obviously it was in Chinese. And but I was trying to read the subtitles at the same time. I'm trying to pay attention. So, hey, would I watch it again? Probably not. It was different. I'll probably go with like that, 5.9, 6 range.
Let me do
You can
some
give him
quick.
6.
Let me do some quick calculating. Hold on one second. Mitchell gave it an 8.1, which it's his movie, so that makes sense. Which would put it, by the way, number 2 or 3 with an 8.1. Plus 5.4 plus 5 points. You said 5.9, Goose?
Yeah, give it a 5.9 since Mitch overrated that movie.
6.6, which does not make the top 10. He is going to be hurt. But it's the way the cookie crumbles. We've had other things fall off the list. Tropic Thunder, the very first movie, is not on the list.
I'm surprised. I'm shocked that Tropic Thunder is not on. Didn't make the top 10.
Blackface did not carry through on our podcast.
That's disappointing.
Yeah, Simple Jack. Anyways, so I think it's Goose's pick this week, right?
It is.
Goose, what are we going to watch?
We'll try to do a little redemption this week with the movie selections.
No.
So I was in between 2 movies. Sports, feel good sports movie to go with the That's what it's gonna be.
Is it?
So I was between Remember the Titans and Friday Night Lights, but then I kicked Friday Night Lights out because I was like, they lose at the end. So
now you ruined it for everybody.
Yeah.
Oh, Remember the Titans. Remember the Titans.
Spoilers on a movie from 06. Remember the Titans.
Everybody's seen.
All right.
Coach Boone. Gary Bertier is Matt Milano. But all right. So that's a good one. I mean, it's a classic, right? It's along the same lines as Miracle.
I'm sure we've all seen it a million times. But yeah.
Varsity Blues, same kind of theme.
Yeah. That was okay.
Maybe not quite, but I would give it a 10. Just like Billy Bob does. So let's see here. We got the game on Sunday night. So we will meet again next Monday night because there was no national championship this week, which kind of congrats to OSU.
Yeah.
I would have liked to see Notre Dame.
What does everyone think about this comment? Because I was listening to ESPN radio today, and they were talking about how even though Ohio State won last night, it's still a good day to be a Michigan fan because Michigan beat Ohio State.
The only team to beat Ohio State, right?
Yeah.
Am I missing something here? I mean, I don't know. Makes no sense to me.
No. I mean, your rival won it.
Yeah.
If the Jets won the Super Bowl and we beat the Jets in the season series, I wouldn't care that we beat them in the season series. I'd care that the Jets won the Super Bowl, or the Dolphins or the Patriots or whatever. It doesn't make a difference.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I know it doesn't, makes no sense to me. Didn't make any sense. So
hashtag loser.
Did anyone else see that Dave Portnoy, Barstool Sports, laid down $1 million bet that the Bills are going to win the Super Bowl?
Yes. Yeah, he doubled his money on.
It was before the Ravens game. He put it down before the Ravens game, Alex.
All right.
Yeah.
Before the Ravens game.
Doubled his money in Trump coin. He put like 500
hours.
$1 million into Trump coin, pulled it out at the double, or maybe it was 500K or whatever.
He put 500K in Trump coin, pulled it out at 1.5.
Wow.
Yeah. And then he put all 1.5 on the Bills to win the Super Bowl before the Ravens game. So I think it plays out, 6.5, Goose? Something like that.
6.5 million.
Yeah. You imagine?
I'm doing something wrong, guys. I'm doing so many things. I did so many things wrong.
What we needed to do, to Mitchell's point, where he was pretty sarcastic and a jag-off last week, we must need to swear more on the podcast. We need to throw a little bit of misogyny out there.
Maybe we need to do pizza reviews too. Wing reviews.
There's an idea. Reviews. Some wing reviews.
It'd be difficult to manage. I think we need to get a situation going in the spring or something where we do a podcast all in the same room.
I think that'd be fun. That'd be a good time.
Fun to do.
We could do it when we go to
when we're at the water park.
The what? Bunch of thick girls.
Set up a table right there in the.
I mean, we just
kiddie pool.
We'll just shimmy off a little bit to the bar and get a little spot.
We gotta make sure no kids walk by in bathing suits, so we're not screwed right out of the gate. We
we should be at the bar then. That's a good
why
idea.
don't we just do it one of the nights, Goose, where you're going to be in town for work, and you slide over, and we'll pull Alex from 20 minutes away, and we'll tell
Try
him
to do
to
that.
go get a root canal, and we'll be fine.
That might work.
So let's start there before we go water. You can imagine, you've been in those places. Those things are just echo chambers of screams.
Well, I could just see it because, between the four of us, well, we all know the person is going to get into the alcohol first, out of the four of us. So
His face
Well,
will look like he's got a sunburn. So red.
So, I can only imagine the amount that all four of us would be swearing on this thing. So,
Oh yeah.
So, all right. Well,
All right, guys.
appreciate everyone sticking around. Hopefully, we're coming to you next week with the Bills incoming Super Bowl on the 9th of February. So we'll see. But we appreciate you. Go Bills.
Go Bills.
Bills.